All right, so Metallica has this brand new song out. I'm Trent, and Jason is with me.
Hello, hello.
Hello from Thunder Underground. If you don't listen to our podcast, get on there right now, soundcloud.com/thunder-underground. You can also find them all at thethunderunderground.com. So this is just a reaction video to Metallica because, hey, Thunder Underground podcast is all about hard rock and metal, and Metallica pretty much covers all that.
Pretty much. I mean, they're a pretty polarizing band. Love them or hate them, you know everyone went and listened to that song.
Yeah.
And
that's a good point, because you know people that have bitched about him for 20 years and say they hate him still listen to it.
Exactly.
Just so they could have something to bitch about.
Yes, and they jumped the fuck right on it. And, you know, it's cool in a way because, you know, okay, Metallica is my favorite band of all time. You know that. I eat, sleep, and breathe them. And I didn't really think when I got up this morning that I'd hear a new Metallica song.
Right.
And I think that's a testament to, you know, how well they keep this stuff under wraps, and they're methodical and planned out in this stuff. And what was it, 2 or 3 o'clock this afternoon? We got a new Metallica song.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was cool. Like you said, no hype coming tomorrow, none of that. Just, guess what? Here you go.
Yeah.
And
go ahead.
I was saying, you know, they had to do like a lot of pre-planning on that because they released a video at the same time.
Of course.
It was, you know, you could tell it was something that effort was put into it. It wasn't just a lyric video they slapped together last night. Well,
you know, there's a whole campaign kicked off. That new photos, a new album art, new this, new that.
That's right. They released the album art, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It looked eerily similar to a Crowbar album, by the way.
But hey, whatever.
Hey.
Well, the thing is,
Kirk Winstein needs his props.
Well, yeah, of course, he always does. and you know, the thing is I knew something might have been coming pretty quick because, you know, they had that Spotify documentary that just premiered today.
Right.
Which I just watched before you got here. It's 4 chapters. First one's like 8 minutes long. The rest of them are like 5 to 6 minutes long about the early years. And then I kind of thought, well, you know, that show is coming up this weekend. And, you know, I thought, you know, we're getting close, so maybe you'll hear something. But I kind of like you said, you know, a build up. But there was never any of that. They just dropped it on us.
Yeah.
So I mean, getting into the song itself, which is, you know, the most important thing while we're here. What did you think?
Well, first thing that I liked is that it just comes straight out the gate.
Yeah.
Fast as hell. You know, there's no, you know, none of that little intro build up, you know, the kind of thing Metallica's done before, or, you know, Machine Head or Dream Theater does, where, you know, you're kind of anticipating what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's just like, here it is.
Yeah.
And it's, like 3 minutes and 11 seconds, which is like, is there even a Metallica song that's that short if it's not a cover?
Wasting My Hate, maybe.
Okay, yeah. But it just, the first thing that I really thought was, I wasn't worried, but I kind of thought this is probably just going to sound like Death Magnetic, which Death Magnetic's good. I love it, but there's just something about it that I was hoping this new stuff doesn't sound like that, if that makes sense. And the initial reaction is this doesn't, because it sounds a lot tighter and cleaner than Death Magnetic does, if that's the right way to put it. You know, it doesn't, you know, like Death Magnetic, Saint Anger, all that stuff, they all have their own little sound. Like every Metallica album's always had its own sound. But this kind of harkens back to earlier stuff. Maybe even the Black Album. It's not that slickly produced, but it's closer to that.
Yeah.
Where it's, you know, real tight and punchy. The drums are overall, like, you walk away from it, that's what you remember more than anything, which is odd when I think of Metallica.
Of course, yeah.
I don't initially, of course you think of Lars because he's a personality, but you don't think you're going to walk away from it thinking about the drums. And that's the main thing that does. And it's the James vocals, of course, make it sound like modern Metallica because his vocal style is way different than it was 25 years ago.
Definitely.
But other than that, the music, was closer to old school Metallica than even Death Magnetic was, I think.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think of the solo?
It was cool. I didn't, not being a guitarist to be able to tell intricacies or anything like that, didn't really jump out at me as anything like amazing. But it was cool that I thought it was 3 minutes, there's probably not going to be a solo.
Yeah.
So it's cool that there was. And even though it was short, that's all that was needed for that song.
Yeah.
It didn't need a long solo, obviously. So, you being the huge fan, what was your initial response?
Well, I think about this stuff a lot. And, my first thought was, of course, you're going to think, what's it going to be? What's it going to sound like? And it was a year or two ago when they started playing Lords of Summer a lot.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this is the direction they're going in. And it, like you said, it was really Death Magnetic-ish. And I figured it would be along those lines. And kind of like what you said, this is tighter and cleaner. And that's what I was it's funny you said that because I completely agree with you. It was exactly how I wanted it to sound. Because Death Magnetic was really hot and really clippy, and kind of staticky at some points, excuse me. And you didn't really get that this time around. And that to me was something I was more worried about over the song. Because I knew the songs were back to being pretty good.
Yeah.
There was no Thorn Withins or Saint Angers, I mean, I knew that they were back to, some pretty good riffs and some pretty good performances. I just really wanted to see that production back and it's there. We're getting there and it's good. They used the engineer from Death Magnetic, Greg Fiddleman, who I know he's done a lot of other stuff. That name is so familiar to me. I just can't think about it. I can't name them right off the top of my head. And with James and Lars producing, so I think they're getting there and they're really close to a really great sound because the production and the sonic values were just worlds better than Death Magnetic.
You think?
Oh yeah, I think so. And the clip I heard today was an Instagram clip. And, it was pretty hot and it was just a clip and, going through whatever filter and it sounded pretty shitty. And I was like, oh, fuck, here we go again. But then when you said, no, the whole song is on Facebook. So then I went and listened to it again and I was like, okay, gotcha. This is great.
Yeah.
And so, and I really agree with you on the solo. It's not, it's not mind melting or anything. It's just ripping short. It goes for more attitude than virtuosity. And I mean, it's just great. I love James is just spitting attitude. We're all fucked. Shit out of luck. I think it's great. And he really accentuates that. If there's ever a time to curse, it's this, because I mean, it really kind of gets across what's going on in the world today. And he's telling the truth. So I mean, I'm really happy. I think I'm past. I'm a little older now, so I'm not going to be giddy as a schoolgirl. But I'm just really happy that they put out a great product. So I'm totally looking forward to this album.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned attitude, and that is something that comes across in this.
Yeah.
For the whole song, musically and lyrically, but that's something obviously harkens back to 80s Metallica.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And when you think, he's always done it, but like the attitude that was on Saint Anger just sounded forced to me. It just sounded like,
I get that.
I'm just writing attitude so I can sing attitude, whatever. But this sounds it sounds natural and real. It sounds like Metallica. It doesn't sound forced or anything.
Yeah. Well, there'd be times in St. Anger when he was just screaming just to scream.
Yeah.
He was going places with his voice he never went to, and maybe they weren't exactly great places. And so I completely understand where you're going when you say it was kind of forced. And this is just harnessed and focused and, and not to say that any of that stuff about St. Anger was bad, because that's just where you are at a time in your life, and I don't begrudge anybody for that.
Yeah, that was 15 years ago now.
Yeah,
and people still cry about it.
Yeah, it's like, you know what, Def Leppard had Slang,
but Slang was better than St. Anger. Don't go there.
This band had that one, so it's okay. When Aerosmith had Honkin' on Bobo, whatever the goddamn fuck that was. So, I mean, these bands have clams. It's okay. In the span of a 30 plus 40 year career or whatever, you're gonna have that. And, let them off the hook a little bit.
Yeah.
But going back to, like you said, another thing I love about it is it's like 3 minutes long. That's my favorite kind of metal.
Yeah.
Just get in, get out, kill it, just rage. And, the damn album's 80 minutes long, so that's probably the only short song on there.
Yeah.
But hey, that's cool. We kind of expect that from these guys at this point.
Yeah, it's true. If you got a 3-minute song on an 80-minute album, that means that there's going to be some 10, 12-minute long opuses on there.
Opuses for sure.
And that's, they announced November 18th.
Yep.
Which we know is Kirk Hammett's birthday. We just know that because we're geeks.
Exactly.
But because a good friend of ours, Michael Thrasher, that's his birthday, so that's just one of those things you always remember.
And Lonnie Walters.
Right.
Our good buddy Lonnie Walters. But also, it's 8 years to the day that we saw them here in Tulsa at the BOK Center.
That's true, because it was Kirk's birthday.
And they pied the fuck out of him. And
you can see that on YouTube.
Yeah, you can even see Pepper Keenan run by and slam him with a pie in the head.
Right.
So, I mean, that's awesome. And November 18th is going to be a great day as always.
Hardwired to Self-Destruct is the name of the album.
That's right.
And he even says that in the lyrics.
Exactly.
Even though the song's just called Hardwired.
Yeah.
But, there was something else I was going to say. No, I guess not.
Okay.
I'm sure I'll think of it as soon as we stop.
Yeah, exactly. The minute you press stop, you'll remember it.
Yeah. But check us out. SoundCloud.com/Thunder-Underground. You're a Metallica fan. You'll love Chris Broderick from Megadeth or Sid Falk from Overkill. We've had both them on among many other people, and that's all on thethunderunderground.com. What I was going to say.
Oh, gotcha. Cool.
I don't know if this wasn't what I was thinking of, but I did think of this. You know what this song is not as good as?
What?
Anything on For All Kings by Anthrax.
Okay.
Sorry, I just had to throw that in.
Well, I get that. I get that.
So Metallica fans, go listen to this new Anthrax album. Metallica's going to be hard-pressed to knock this off of the top spot of the year.
Metallica should take Anthrax out.
That's a good point. So when this Metallica album releases, that will have meant that 3 of the big 4 released an album in 2016.
Yeah, well, that's a great place to be.
I mean, Slayer released one last year, so it was almost within a year's time.
I know. Also, go back way back in our archives. There's a whole episode of us talking about nothing but Metallica.
That's true.
So check that out too.
Yeah, that's way back at like episode 3 or 5 or something like that.
Yeah. But we've had guys from COC on,
Kirk from Crowbar and Down.
Kirk from Crowbar and Down. So check us out.
Drowning Pool, all kinds of stuff. And the other thing that I don't know why this popped in my head. We'll talk about this album once it comes out, obviously.
Definitely.
In a few months, but you now realize that there's that divisive, like you said, polarizing thing about Metallica that so many people post-Black Album don't like them and only love the early stuff. But so now you realize how far away we are from that once this album drops, there'll have been more albums post the Black Album than there were pre the Black Album.
Wrap your head around that.
Yeah.
Mind blown.
Thunder Underground, y'all.